G.I. Joe Origins Snake Eyes is the brand new movie hitting theaters exclusively on July 23rd. The film stars Henry Golding, Andrew Koji, and Samara Weaving, and tells a story about the origin story of the famous G.I. Joe character Snake Eyes, who is played by Henry Golding. He's a drifter. His father was killed in front of him as a child, so he's been living without a family on the run for years. And once he helps out Tommy, played by Andrew Koji, who's in the movie, he is brought back to Japan to train to be basically a ninja assassin for this very big clan in Japan. My name is Max Dinnerberg, and Tommy is also Storm Shadow. My name is Max Dinnerberg to a brand new movie review. Also, the film is 2 hours long and PG-13. My name is Max Dinnerberg to a brand new movie review here on Max Talk Video. Today we're talking about Snake Eyes, G.I. Joe Origins. Please like the video, guys. Please smash that thumbs up button. That is the best way to support this channel. Do that right now before you do anything else. Also, please comment down below your thoughts on this movie. If you have not seen this film yet, tell me, did you see the first two G.I. Joe films? Are you going to this film blind? And if you've already seen the film, let me know what are your thoughts in the comment section down below in non-spoiler fashion. Also, please subscribe and ring the bell if you're new to the channel. I do movie reviews like these, TV show reviews, a box office breakdown show, movie rankings, and a lot more stuff. So please consider subscribing. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers. Let's talk about Snake Eyes. So I was actually pretty excited for this movie. I really did not like the first two films. Obviously, smart to do a reboot. The first two films are really awful to a fact where no one talks about Dwayne Johnson being in a G.I. Joe film. So I was intrigued. Henry Golding's a really good actor, and I was excited to see him. This is a mixed martial arts film, an origin story before we get the bigger G.I. Joe story. And I thought that was a nice idea. I really enjoyed the trailers. It was being built up really well by Golding in some of his interviews. I was actually quite excited for the movie. But what do you think about this director? Has directed some awful films in the past, like Allegiant, Insurgent, and R.I.P.D. You're kind of like, oof. And that is kind of my worrisome heading into the movie. Samara Weaving is in the movie, who is one of my favorite actresses working today. She's just amazing, Ready or Not, and the Babysitter movies. She's just fantastic in. So I was excited to see her jump into another kind of her biggest film to date. And just see a lot of new actors. So that was also really exciting. Let's get my non-spoiler thoughts of this, but positives, my negatives. Then I'm going to give you my score out of 5 stars. So first of all, my biggest positive with the movie is Henry Golding, the man himself, playing Snake Eyes. He's really fantastic in the film. And at times when some scenes can be quite unwatchable, he, for some reason, does make the movie watchable. He has a lot of charisma, and he's just a likable actor, a likable character. He does commit to a lot of these action scenes. They're very well done. If it fits his actor's persona really well. You really can understand it, and he's a very believable actor in this role. Is what I meant to say. A very believable actor playing this character. And the setup for his character is actually quite interesting, how it's basically a revenge story. Without spoiling the movie, he wants revenge on the person who killed his father. At the same time, basically trying to balance, does he want to join this clan? And the back and forth in his head about that is, does he want revenge or does he want a family? That balance throughout the entire film is easily the most compelling story in the entire movie. Because first of all, Henry Golding's fantastic in the movie. It's hard not to like this character because Golding's great. Also, they do a good job setting up this character for the third act. Everyone's actually really good in the movie. Andrew Koji as Tommy is really excellent in the movie. He's got a great voice, by the way, as Storm Shadow. He is very good in the movie. The grandmother who runs the clan, she's very good in the movie. Samara Weaving, in a very minimal screen time, is good. All the actors are actually quite good in the movie. It's a very well-acted movie. And also the choreography on the action scenes are really fantastic. The sword action is going on. It's actually amazing choreography. And it's very exciting to see that in this type of movie. The best part of the movie was probably the first act of the movie. It's a really, while cliched, I was actually invested in the first act of the movie, where they set up Henry Golding's character, you know, exactly the purpose of him being in this movie. And I love the setting of Tokyo. It was really beautiful movie to look at. And it made it just even more enticing. And I was just bought into the story. And while you may have seen the story a billion times, I was actually gearing up for some fun action scenes to come along with this very mediocre, I guess, story, but I was still invested in the character and I got where he was coming from. I understood how he basically is a badass and where that could take him in future films. So those are my positives, guys. I got to go into my negatives, guys. And this for me was a big point. The biggest issue with the movie for me is the direction or the shooting of this movie and itself. And so cinematography, direction, and the script does let the movie down. And my biggest flaw with that totally is the third act of this movie is not good at all. And because the first act is really good, in my opinion, quite good. And then the second act is okay. We're getting a little more story, but nothing special is really going on. And then the third act gets built up pretty big, and characters make decisions that make absolutely no sense in the third act of this movie. People team up who they shouldn't be teaming up with in the third act of the movie. Characters show up out of the fly who we saw maybe in a scene before, who we're supposed to care about in this third act of the movie. As I said, my biggest issue with the movie is that while the action is well choreographed and the actors are killing it, the movie is shot horribly on these action scenes. It was actually quite dizzying at the beginning of the movie because there's a couple action scenes where you just have no idea what's going on. And maybe it's because it was PG-13 that they didn't want to show too much, so they're trying to cut in some scenes, but there's so much cutting and there's so much handheld direction that it comes so shaky that at times you just have no idea what's going on. And that is a huge issue when your movie is action first before story. And I totally get that. You're coming to this movie, a turn your brain off action movie. We've got a lot of those type of movies this year. Are they all good? Absolutely not. But you have films like Mortal Kombat that story-wise is awful, but when you actually get into the fights and the funness of the movie, I had a okay time with, without remorse. Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. They're all in a really and same class from like a 3 out of 5 stars. But this movie has action shots so poorly that it's tough to get invested because you have no idea what is going on. And as I said, character decisions are awful. They are really trying to set up this brotherhood, I guess, between Tommy and Snake Eyes throughout the entire film. Again, Storm Shadow, to make that clear. Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes have this brotherhood that is said to be there during the movie, but you just don't feel it at all. You get maybe one scene of Tommy just saying Fish Boy, and then he just takes him right to Japan. You feel no connection between the two characters. And they're supposed to be on equal terms, and Snake Eyes betrays him multiple times throughout the movie, and they just don't feel like on equal ground. Tommy became one of the more unlikable characters in the third act of the movie. And it was quite disappointing because Storm Shadow is such an important character. And I just think the actor, again, Andrew Koji did a great job. But when you actually think of what he does in the movie, he just spills exposition. And also, it doesn't make any sense why all these people are telling Snake Eyes all of this information. It makes absolutely no sense. They all don't trust him, but give him all of this important information. That also doesn't make any sense throughout the film. And as I said, the third act tanks. It's not one of the worst third acts I've ever seen or anything like that. But while the movie for me was actually a fun 3 out of 5 or 3.5 out of 5, at least the first act was a 3.5 out of 5. Then it goes down to a 3 once I get to the second act, and it's going to drop a little bit before that because the third act is just really not good. Characters team up with people who it makes absolutely no sense, and the villains of this movie is really terrible. They're just bad people, terrorists who just want to blow up the Klan. It just does. You don't really care about the villains whatsoever of the movie. And it has good world building in it. And Henry Golding's doing a great job. And so is the rest of the cast. And while the choreography is great, this movie was a disappointing action film that while I was never bored during it, the third act absolutely tanks. Once a key thing happens in the movie, the last 25 minutes of the movie is not good whatsoever. And this is not one of the more disappointing movies of the year because with the director, I kind of knew this wouldn't be special. Is it the best G.I. Joe film? Obviously, compared to the other two, and this also film is desperately wanting a sequel because the bigger story you can feel is not in this movie. And everyone's like, I want to see Snake Eyes in the outfit. You don't see Snake Eyes in the outfit. And that was a pretty big disappointment. So it feels like it's setting up a sequel. We'll see if it makes enough money to garner a sequel because there's a bit of a mid-credit scene. If you stay like 2 minutes after the movie completely ends, they go right into the mid-credit scene really fast. So save for the mid-credit scene if you care about the movie. So I'm going to give Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins a 2.5 out of 5, a 48%, guys. I wanted to like this movie a lot more. Instead, I really enjoyed the first act. The second act was all right, and the third act was not good whatsoever. So that's my thoughts on Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins. Please like the video, subscribe, do all of those things. If you want to see more of my movie reviews, you can click right to my playlist to my right. My old review is coming tomorrow. The new M. Night Shyamalan movie, my Bad Batch spoiler review, will be coming as well tomorrow. And on Monday, it will be my box office breakdown show. How does Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins do at the box office? We're going to find out on Monday here on the channel. So you got to ring the bell and subscribe. Please, guys, leave a like. That's the best way to help me out. And I'll see you guys soon.